You're welcome. You're welcome, dear viewers. You're welcome to the Green Talk Show. We are yet here with another amazing and very interesting episode. To our viewers out there, my name is Nawakawa Safina Haula, your host for tonight. This is going to be our seventh episode of the Green Talk Show. We've had 6 episodes so far. For those of you that would want to watch our previous episodes, you can kindly go to our YouTube channel that is at Maitri Initiative Uganda. You can get to subscribe and be able to watch our previous shows where we've had a number of interesting topics regarding climate change, regarding climate change, and how the youth can get involved in mitigation measures so that we can combat the different effects that are being brought about and are damaging our environment. The Green Talk Show is brought to you and sponsored by Maitri Initiative, an NGO that decided that it wants to see our community thriving in a healthy green cover by educating and inspiring the young people out there, the young people in Uganda, the young people in the different communities, and it could be the young people out there in the different countries that usually watch us here. So the Green Talk Show, for those of you that might not know what it is a climate-based show that brings together various participants from the government, from the civil society, from the private sector. It brings up members from the UN and the young people that have benefited but are also contributing to climate change mitigation and initiation. For today's show, we have amazing people on today's show. Our topic is going to be transforming youth connection with nature towards global climate action and sustainability. To give you a brief introduction of the amazing guests we have on today's show, we have Miss Rosa Malango. I'm very sure most of the young members that are part of the Maitri Initiative WhatsApp group have seen her attending a few events of the Maitri where we've been able to plant a number of trees. She is a humanitarian with 20 years of UN experience in development and humanitarian affairs. Currently, she's the director at the regional commissions in New York. And yes, we shall be having her live from New York. Before she left for New York, she was the UN resident coordinator in Uganda. That is how we were able to meet up with her on the different activities that Maitri was able to hold. We also have Miss Rose Kobusinje. So we have Rosa, we also have Rose. Miss Rose Kobusinje, and she's a graduate of environmental change and management from the University of Oxford in the UK. She will also be coming in to give in her own views as regards climate change and involvement of the youth in climate mitigation. I should say, she's also interested. She's so much interested into the climate. Our topic, promoting a positive environmental and economic growth for Uganda's economy. Ms. Rosa, if you could please explain to our viewers out there that are watching us, what could be some of the barriers that are hindering Uganda's economic growth in an environmental friendly way? I find that the young people out there might not know that there's a different kind of way that our environment has an effect again on economic growth and development. So what would be the simple connection between the environment and economic development? Could you please take on, Ms. Rosa?
Thank you very much, moderator, and I want to thank the organizers for reaching out to me for being part of this show. But let me take a minute to begin by explaining who I am for those who may not know. So my
Yeah.
name is Rosa Malango. I'm the director of the Regional Commission's office in New York. I was appointed by the Secretary General in June this year to take over this responsibility. In this capacity, my office is responsible for coordination, policy support, and in coordination between the regional commissions all around the world. That's Africa, Asia, Latin America, Europe, and two commissions that we have covering the Middle East and the eastern part of the world. This comes at a point that I have 27 years of service in the United Nations, not 20. I'm almost at 30 and going. So it's really an honor to be able to be serving in this position, especially after having served representing Secretary General in Uganda for 5 years. Now, today, as we have this conversation, 13 minutes ago, the Secretary General just presented to the General Assembly his agenda, what he's calling the common agenda. And among the priorities that he talked about to the member states was the urgency of making sure that the youth were not seen as beneficiaries, that you become part of the decision making processes at all levels. He actually made a call for us to have every 2 years a summit that looks at the socioeconomic situation in every country. And it becomes an opportunity for an inclusive dialogue on how to address the climate crisis, the inequality crisis, the gender crisis, and the need to make sure that the youth can be part of defining their own future. He went as far as also challenging the member states to make sure that when they're interacting with us, they don't just do so only as government, but they do it as civil society, as private sector, and including the youth. So when you talk about economics today, I think there's three things that we need to reflect upon. One is, what is our economic situation? And the economics of Uganda cannot be disengaged from the economics of East Africa, cannot be
Yes.
disengaged from the economics of Africa. So what is Africa's standpoint right now on the global stage when it comes from the economic perspective? What are our resources? What are our advantages? And what are the missed opportunities? This brings me quickly to the second point, which is innovation and inclusiveness. Now, we have a lot of innovation going on, but we're not able to scale it up and make sure it's part of our solutions. So, until we find a way to systematically embrace the innovation and the evolutions that are coming forward, we will continue to have some challenges in rolling out the great plans that we have. My last point, I believe that the My Tree initiative is one of several examples that the youth don't always need to be trained to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
You have the solutions already. So the challenge is to us, to my generation and the generation before me, on how do we make sure that you're at the right table at the right time so that your solutions become part of our solutions today and not just tomorrow. Thank you.
And thank you, Ms. Rosa. Regarding the summit that you've just talked about, is there any way the youth could be involved, like having representatives during these summits, representatives that are going to be able to air out what the youth really are interested in, what they think should be a way of them being helped out, so as to come on board and bring out a change in their communities? Will they be involved in any kind of way in the summits, so far as attendance is
Well, first of all, I don't want us to look at this as this is another party where the youth are going to go to attend. This is not what it's about. We have youth who are entrepreneurs. We have
Yes.
youth who are scientists. We are youth who are health workers. We are youth
Yeah.
who are members of parliament. We are
Yeah.
youth who are, philanthropists. So
Yes.
depending on your area of expertise, even
Yeah.
academics and think tanks, what is your contribution and what is your issue? We can't just say, I'm a young person and hence I'm showing up. Seriously, it's not making any sense. And Africa is
Yes.
the youngest continent on the earth. But when it comes to the well being of your community, when it comes to changing the lives of those around you, what solution do you want to bring to the table? Who have
Yes.
you analyzed that solution with to make sure that
Yes.
when you put it on the table, a government, a parliament, a private sector, or the UN can actually implement it? So my
Yes.
question goes back to you guys. How are you organizing yourself to address today's problems? How are you documenting your knowledge? and which is the value system that you are putting on the table so that you can be an equitable partner in this discourse, not just
Yes.
someone having a chair at the table. And I
Mm.
know you can do it because I've seen it done.
Okay, thank you so much. Rose, you happen to be going to attend a summit where you will be representing Uganda and the youth from Uganda. What is your view? What really happens during these times? Are you able to air out the views of the youth from Uganda? What could you say are the advantages of attending such summits like the one you will happen to attend in September?
Thank you so much, Hella. And just maybe I'll start a little bit by saying who I am. My name is Rose Kopsinge, and I currently finished my master's in environmental change and management at the University of Oxford, and I'm a member of my tree initiative and a member of Youth Go Green Uganda. I'm a climate change advocate, and also I'm really interested in researching and finding solutions for the youth, but also I'm most interested in the bit of humanitarian energy and environment bit of the sector. So as Hala has mentioned, I was selected to delegate the youth of Uganda to attend a PreCop event, youth summits in this September from the 28th to the 30th of September in Milan. And as she has asked, is like, I think I'll kind of relate with what Ms. Rosa Malanga has talked about, because one of the things I taxed the organizers is that, is this going to be one of those things where we just talk and take photos and post on social media, and then we go? But I'm quite optimistic because the organizers are really trying to see how we can work together on this. And for me, as a young person, as a Ugandan young person, I know that as the youth, it's high time we need to put in effort. Let it not just be a matter of attending events and just talking and then leaving and then nothing happens. We need to act. We need to go with concrete ideas, because if we need let's say the UN or the World Bank or other actors to really support us, we need to stop thinking that it's all about attending our events like that. We need to go with solutions, and we need to be proactive in that's what I could say. So I think what I'm going to do is that we are two delegates from Uganda. Another one is called Paul Busula. I think you'll see him very soon. We're organizing an event where next week, and we are going to be consulting the youth of Uganda what their priorities are in terms of climate action, be it adaptation, mitigation, climate finance, and talks on loss and damage and everything. And so I think we'll be communicating that online, and I'm really ready to see how this event unfolds. And I've personally tried to get into to like compile a kind of framework and getting together all delegates from African countries to share our issues and challenges and find solutions. Just, it's not about just saying we have this problem. It's like, what are those solutions that we think will help, and what is the kind of help that we actually need? So I'm hopeful that it's going to be great.
Okay, thank you, Rose. One thing that I've usually noticed is that the youth out there are not aware of the different activities that are taking place regarding climate action. Is there like a platform? It could be your Twitter handle, it could be a Facebook page that is mainly focused at that whole event. You could share with the youth that are watching us live the handles at which they can get information regarding this event, so that they can take part, so that they can be informed and aware of whatever is happening around.
Yes, Hala, thank you so much. And that is the other point I wanted to kind of discuss about, because there's a lot of information out there, but we just don't look out for it. We just don't look out for it. We just wait for things to find us wherever we are. I think we just need to change this. We just need to be hungry for knowledge, hungry for new things. So I'm going to share a Twitter handle. It's called PreCop. Let me just share it now. And I could also share my Twitter handle. So should I share it in the comments?
Yeah, you can share it in the comments.
Looks like I'm not able. So let me just send it in your chat and in the private chat, and then maybe you could. So they're always posting a lot of things there about the event, and there are quite a lot of opportunities and where the youth could engage in a lot of information and train capacity building events on COP and COP26 and what to expect from it. So maybe you could post that in the comment because I wasn't able.
I think it is going to be posted by the person that is handling the Facebook page of My Tree Initiative. I'll forward it and then they'll post it in the comments. I'm coming back to you, Ms. Rosa. You talked about the youth having to be innovative, but usually you find that these youth are having challenges as usually when it comes to how they're going to be able to fund and put their innovations or ideas into action. Yes, there are activities that usually give out grants, that are usually giving out support to the young youth. But you find that again, you find that there are so many people that are coming up, they want to be funded, but they all do not get the chance to be funded. So these other people that do not get the chance to be funded so as to bring their ideas into action usually lose it. They lose the morale of, coming up again, finding other means of how to bring their ideas into existence. What advice could you have for those young people that fail to get?
First of all, I find it surprising to hear that, and especially from Uganda.
Yes.
The country where a group of youth came to me 2 years ago, and we created the 1 Million Solutions website just for that.
Yeah.
So that any Uganda, no matter which part of the country you are in, you can post your solutions. And if you get together, you can make a presentation that may be able to work.
Yeah.
So I think that the number one thing we have to get out of our minds is that everything needs external funding because we're never going to make it.
Exactly.
And when we're talking about innovations also, I don't know, I feel like we talk about innovations and people think like we're talking about creating a car. That is not what we're talking about. I met a group of youth in Gulu. They had started in one room picking up plastics around the city and turning the plastic into tiles. By the time I left, they had occupied a building and they were able to ask for the government to benefit from the free space available to be able to scale up that initiative.
Yeah.
How much money did he need to pick up the bottles that were in the street in Gulu?
He didn't need
Nobody
the
else
money.
wanted to go with him. Nothing.
Yeah.
Let me ask another question. We always talk about the issue of floods and droughts.
Yeah.
How many of us have sat down to try to figure out how to harvest rainwater when it falls? I found a group of young women in Moroto, in Karamoja, who were using locally woven baskets and they were adding some sort of special leaves with it so that when the rain came, they could harvest the water from the roof. So what they needed to be able to scale that up was a couple of bicycles, which we got, and to teach each household to be able to do that so that every clan should be able to do that. So the next time the water came, the drought was not as harsh. How much money was required there? Ladies and gentlemen, we need to embrace our values and our own solution, small scale, to address the problems in our homes. We're not trying to build a car. That can come later. If you do that first, then you'll be able to link up and to do the things we have today.
Yes.
Go Green, I think Rose said you're with Go Green and the My Tree initiatives. Those two initiatives came together and they went to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and they mobilized all the women and diplomatic community to start tree planting. They went to Parliament and got them to commit. And I think a few days ago, I saw Stanbic and some private sector also committed to plant trees. When they started, I think there was 3 or 5 youth who started it. Now everyone is committing to plant the trees. When they started, how much did they have? So, ladies and gentlemen, please let us
Yes.
start doing what we got to do. We got to do it right. And if we
Yes.
leverage each other, we'll reach a point where others will join us and we'll be able to get things done. And I think that this talk show here, which I'm plugging into from New York, is
Yeah.
evidence that when you are clear about your purpose, you will leverage your partnerships and then you will get the support you need to succeed.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I should also take this opportunity to thank the founders of My Tree Initiative for giving an opportunity to the young people. Because, I mean, being a volunteer with MTI, you do not even have to pay anything like subscription. It is just you finding your own time, creating time for your own self. Just show up when they call on to you, when they say that, yeah, like currently we are having a program that is planting trees for remembrance. We are planting these trees for remembrance, mainly for the people that we lost to COVID-19. It is going to be a 7 days event. We will be planting the trees in different areas of the country. And all we are saying is the young people should come up. It cannot only just be, the organization doing everything. You could show up, you're given a tree, you're able to take this tree to your own home, just find some little space, plant that tree there, and then just look at how it progresses. There's a lot of beauty that is attached to watching something developing, from it being a seedling to it growing and then having flowers. If it is a fruit, then you will enjoy the fruits yourself. So this program is going to be running this very month of September. We've organized it in a kind of way that people, you either donate, you give in your donations, and then the organization is going to plant these trees for you, or you could just come up and say, yes, I need this number of trees, and then you're given these trees, you're able to take them at home, and then you can plant them. But again, while we are doing this, we're also giving back to the community. It is going to be a trees of remembrance and then a car wash. So you could come, get your trees to be planted. You could be donating some little money, but then again, we will be washing your car for you. So it is going to be so interesting. They're donating, but we are also giving back to them in a different kind of way. Going through our comments that are coming in from Facebook, people are saying that tuned in, they're thanking My Tree Initiative for bringing this up. They're saying this is the future and we need to share ideas together. Anasali is saying great discussion here. They're saying that thank you so much. We have a lot of comments that are coming in from the different youth that are watching us. Ms. Rasa, coming back to you. Are there any, apart from being innovative and something like that, are there other tangible opportunities, let's say like in Uganda, other tangible opportunities? It could not be that someone has to have an idea, but are there other forms of tangible opportunities for the time that you were in Uganda that you think any youth out there can take up, especially the university students that, are finishing university, they're getting their bachelor's, but are failing to find something that they can do that might be related to what they might have studied or is out of what they might have studied. You could broaden their minds on what they could do, other tangible opportunities.
Thank you. Can I begin by asking, can we please move towards a research mindset? So when you Google opportunities for youth SDGs in Uganda, what comes up?
Mm-hmm.
When you go to YouTube and you put youth SDGs, what comes up?
Let me check that right now.
Please, because I have met so many youth with so many initiatives and so many partners. And what I have tried to do whenever I've given the opportunity, and I did this in Guatemala, I did this in Cote d'Ivoire, I did this when I was working with the Chinese government and Turkey, is always to give people the advice on how to share their story and their knowledge. Because at
Yes.
the end of the day, it's about you.
Yeah.
So there is a group called the Youth SDG Coalition in Uganda.
Yes.
which is co-hosted by the Office of the Prime Minister and the UN Advisory for People.
Yeah.
It started with a group of 9, and by the time I left, there was 35.
Mm.
All of those were youth who were already trying to do something to make sure that inclusive, sustainable, and environment-friendly development took place in the country. All we did was bring them together.
Yes.
Today, I'm sure the number is higher. They have their own website. The same can be applied for the 1 million solutions. If you go to it, I'm sure that my distinguished co-panelist, if you Google her name, a whole long list of opportunities will come up with that. I'm seeing some of the people here online. There's people like Solomon who thanked us at the beginning. He and a team of youth have started a new initiative called IMR Africa, working on Tumaini African Knowledge Center, where they're trying to bring African knowledge together on a platform. They also have their own website. So, ladies and gentlemen, the opportunities are there, but what do you want to do with them?
Yes.
Allow me, please, to bring this back down to everyday life for 2 seconds. Number
Yes.
one, I was scandalized by the number of teenage pregnancies during the COVID lockdown. We are about to lose an entire generation as a result of this incident. So, what are we going to do to make sure that these victims, because nothing else that those girls are but victims, don't become another number in the number of people who are seriously poor? How are we going to make sure that those victims can actually become mothers who can give their children a fairly good quality of life? So, how are we going to empower them? What access are we going to give them? Which initiatives exist? And this brings me to partners such as Stanbic in Uganda, such as APSA in Uganda, such as Equity Bank in Uganda, who have all sat down with the UN, with civil society, and with the government to look for initiatives for small and micro enterprises, knowing that women and the youth are the ones in the informal sector and in the micro areas. How do you make sure you don't input your savings into a business and one child needs to go to the hospital and your business is over? And next thing, you're homeless. So how do we make sure we keep a roof over the heads of people with the innovations that we say that we are bringing about in terms of inclusiveness? We have heard a lot of talk about energy, and here I really want to admire the Ugandan youth. I have seen briquettes being produced and all these things coming out there. How do we make it sustainable so that whether I'm in Kawempe or I'm in Moroto or I'm in Mbarara, I can actually use these briquettes and make this a standard? And so we'll stop cutting the trees down and we're actually moving towards an energy that makes sense. Uganda has just approved 7 to 10 new cities. Can someone show me the plan? I hope the plan is environment friendly. What is the plan for urbanization of the cities, the towns, and the villages in Uganda? And even for our ghettos, every country has one. Can we make it in a way that it does not make the environment worse? Can we make it in a way that you can actually have a livelihood and not be subject to violence? So these are the challenges that we have with us today. And we have the solutions with us today. But how do we use our times and our access to platforms like these to come together and make sure we can implement this? And if it's not about us implementing, to make sure that the people who have the power to implement it do so. Let me end this point by also asking participants to go to www.regionalcommissions.org. That is the website of my new office. It connects you to the regional commissions around the world. And one thing that you will find so interesting when you log in then is that you go to Lebanon, you go to Chile, you go around the world, the youth are having similar challenges to yours. So you're not alone. I will end with an appeal to mindset. Dear African youth, embrace your identity and your values and evolve. Nothing stops you from being an African and also being an innovator. You know, I always promote Ubuntu Mulamu. Those are the values of our shared humanity. There is no way I'm going to have this conversation without saying that again, because Ubuntu Mulamu says that you coexist with the environment and manage drought. It says you take care of the most vulnerable in your communities. And nowhere does it say that you encourage teenage pregnancies. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ms. Rosa. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. I do not think I can add anything onto that. I cannot. People are just shouting out. So you're really inspiring them a lot. Thank you so much. I too myself, I for one. This is very great. This is very amazing. Thank you so much for deciding to be on the show with us. Thank you for deciding to work with My Tree Initiative. Thank you for showing up whenever My Tree Initiative asked you to be there. Thank you so much. I should take this as an opportunity to thank you for everything. Thank you so much. By the way, earlier on, I was told that they will be sharing photos of the trees that we planted. So you will be having, you'll have a look at the progress of these trees that were planted, that we planted with you. It was a great honor. Thank you so much. It is a very great pleasure. We have a question that is coming in to Miss Rosa. What are some of the best ways young people can adapt to promote positive environment economic growth? Yes.
This question is coming from Ismail. I want to thank Ismail. I mean, this question, I think, has been one I've had at the back of my mind for the last couple of years. And I think there's a couple of things that you can do concretely.
Yeah.
Number one is read your National Development Plan 3. The National Development Plan 3 in Uganda was developed with the support of civil society, private sector, and the UN. It was the first very inclusive developed plan. It is linked to the SDGs. And within the National Development Plan 3, we made sure that there was a very clear reference to green industrialization. So that is why if you go in there, you will find that the Uganda plan talks about agri-led industrialization, led by agriculture, because agriculture, you have to be in harmony with nature.
Yeah.
So now that the plan is in there, the question is, how do you roll it out from the parish level up? So one opportunity is go into the plan, read it, consult the local government, and see what are the opportunities for environment-friendly agriculture. The second thing that you can do still within this vein, there are 16 presidential demonstration farms around Uganda. So if you can go to one of them, and I took a group of 20 youth to them, it's amazing how it helps you understand the value chain. So some people may be into farming, some into distribution, some into actually making the seeds, some into, so it's a really long value chain, including transport, logistics, and everything. So which part of the agri-industrialization value chain do you see yourself to be part of? And once you are aware of that, which are the places where you need to participate to make sure that the private companies follow the rules?
Yes.
Brings me to area number 3, Parliament. Right now, Uganda has one of the youngest parliaments it's had in a long time. Engage your parliamentarians, have a session with them. To what extent do the parliamentarians understand about green industrialization and agri-led? To what extent do the parliamentarians demand that every ministry that presents a request to Parliament make sure that it is green, that their budget is actually green sensitive? To what extent every loan that the government takes has a component that supports environment protection?
Yeah.
So engage the Parliament to be able to fulfill their function. And the fourth one, hold us accountable from the international community. So when you're going to meetings and you have the UN and you have the EU and you have everybody there, find out, to what extent is their financing and their funding and their partnership promoting indigenous sustainable solutions to preserve the environment. Because we're all doing economics and trade, but what kind of economics and trade are you doing so that you get out of poverty, but you do not destroy the environment in the same process? And lastly, Rose, congrats that you're going to the PreCop meeting. You need to document your knowledge, youth. Please be succinct. 2 pages, not 25. What are your 2 pages that you're going on? So if you suddenly get the opportunity to make an intervention on the global stage, what are you going to say that is going to cause someone to reflect and say, I want to know more? So don't forget who you are, study the plan, look at the opportunities, study the partnerships, and the world is yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rosa. Talking about engagement of the Parliament, recently we had the youth chairperson, Jacob Eyeru, from He recently came up and introduced a program that will be running. There will be planting of trees, mainly by the youth, because he's the chairperson of the youth, Jacob Ayeru. There will be a session for planting of trees all over the whole country. So I think the other thing that we, the youth, should be much interested in is that we should learn to follow these influential people. We should be following them on their different handles. Yes, we have social media everywhere, but you find that the people that the young people are following most of the times are just people that they're following for their own enjoyment. We could make it the other way around and follow people that are really going to help us in inspiring our own selves and improving our own lives. If we could follow you, Miss Rosa. You will be giving us the details of your handle so that then people can get to follow you. Because it is with following these different people that we get to be informed on whatever is happening around the globe. Thank you so much, Miss Rosa. Coming back to you, Rose, as a climate change advocate, what would you think are the roles of the young people in developing Uganda into a greener economy?
Thanks, Hala. It was great to hear some provocative contribution from Ms. Rosa Malango. And I think we really need that. We need to get out of our comfort zone by hearing such kind of very inspiring words. So as a climate advocate, I think the youth, when you look at the number of young people in Uganda, it's just incredible. It's just like if the young people don't envision where they want their life to be or where to go, the direction, if we don't drive our own future, then it means I don't know where we want to live. So that it all starts with, we know we always complain that it's already the old people who are in those seats. That's true at some extent. But also I think we need to identify those opportunities. As we already mentioned, there are a lot of opportunities, but we just don't know how to find them or how to get them. And when we identify like a project or an innovation, we don't put in a lot of thinking of like, okay, what is the problem that we are now addressing? For example, there is COVID, and right now it's like, okay, what innovation or what idea or campaign or anything can I come up with to actually address such a problem, maybe for green recovery? And then in that idea, we need to put in something that is kind of like sweetening the whole idea. It could be putting in a bit of our culture. It could be putting in a bit of let's say our tradition, our meals, and something like that. So for me, I see the youth as people, as we need to really advocate for the future. First of all, envision what future we want. Do we really know the future that we want? So once we know the future that we want and where we need to go, and what are those tactics that will get us there? One can be advocacy, one can be our starting businesses, one could be research, and the other one could be holding events like this. So there's a lot of things that are available there. There are a lot of opportunities that are available, but we just need to strategically position ourselves. Then we need to hold our leaders accountable. That is one other thing. I think holding leaders accountable doesn't mean that you're going to stand there and shout at them. No, it's just like identify the best way you can engage your leader. I personally come from Fort Portal, and my MP is Honorable Alex Ruhunda. So when they made Fort Portal a city, I contacted him. I was like, why don't we make Fort Portal a model city whereby we have green spaces? And I've gotten a little bit of a chance to travel and see how developed cities are. They're not the best, but I've learned a few lessons. I'm like, okay, we don't have any good green spaces, community spaces in our cities. How about we kind of identify that? How about the planning in our cities? So in terms of climate change and mitigation and adaptation, we really recognize that as least developed countries, Uganda is a least developed country. Am I ashamed to say that? But that's the truth. We're a least developed country, and we adaptation is clearly more important to us because climate change is not going anywhere. We need to start are kind of adjusting to the floods that are coming, adjusting to the droughts that are coming. But in the same way, there are a lot of opportunities where we can combine adaptation and mitigation together. For example, if you adopt, let's say, agroforestry, there are a lot of we are here as the young people crying of unemployment, but there are opportunities and business ideas where we can come in and address climate change, at the same time create employment, at the same time create income, kind of make it more entrepreneurial, but kind of green, a bit holistic. That's what I would say. So a very simple business idea, it could be like farming and adopting agroforestry, and then if you've planted if you adopted agroforestry, let's say you're planting a high value crop, let's say coffee, right? And then you're doing some indigenous trees, you're doing some coffee appropriate trees and stuff like that. And just in a few years, you'll be able to harvest money from the coffee, from the trees, and from so I think we need to actually embrace those things that really represent our country. That is one, but at the same time looking beyond our comfort zone and being a bit more holistic.
Thank you so much, Rose. Talking about us, it being that I'll quote from what I got from Miss Rosa's page. She says that every action in our lives serves a purpose. Yes. So talking about that, I think we the young people should really put in some effort. Only that when we talk about the young people having to grow, like Rose has said, plant your own coffee, do something of your own, you find that they feel this is a little way too much for them. They feel they cannot do that. They feel that their standards cannot handle having to go to the garden, or maybe having to wake up every morning and then go to the garden, do some simple digging, or even monitor the progress of their own crops that they're having. Yes, I see we are little going to be caught up by time. We have another guest on the show. That is Michael Magunda. Michael, I don't know if he's already in studio with us. He's the education manager of My Tree Initiative. I don't know if he's with us. We also have him on tonight's show. So usually on these shows we have different people. Yes, we have people that are far from MTI, but we also happen to bring the members that are part of MTI. They can come up and tell us their experience with MTI. They tell us what difference has MTI brought in their lives. Do they really think they can stay with MTI and just move on, or MTI is not doing anything for them? So we usually bring them up so that they can come in and tell us and give us views as regards being part of MTI. As we wait for him to come up, we can still go through comments that are coming in from Facebook.
Can I make a comment? I think I saw something somewhere. Okay, two things. One is we all go through a moment of desperation, and I think it's so important for people to understand that when you see someone, and I say this to the youth with whom I mentor, don't look at the end journey, ask them for their journey. Yeah. And you will find that everybody went through a journey, and you have to continue to fight and innovate and hustle, as they say, if you want to improve your life.
Yeah.
So during the COVID lockdown, and I use this example all the time, I was in Uganda. I remember one point I literally almost panicked because I had 10 people living with me in the house. We're all in lockdown. There was mass confusion about trucks coming in, and we didn't have access to vegetables. So like a joke, we decided that we needed to plant some of the food in my residence. So none of us knew about farming, so help me God. So we did something. And so we started with what we thought was the easiest, which ended up not being, which was vegetables. So we started with vegetables and a few fruits and 5 chicken. And I'll never forget this because someone sent me 1 chicken all the way from sorority. So I had 5 local chicken. Did you know that 1 year afterwards, I had 75 chicken? So as I left
Wow.
Uganda, I was busy selling chicken to people all around. I couldn't leave the chicken alone in my house. And
Mhm.
we had harvested maize 6 times. At one time, we harvested maize and spinach, and there was none in the market. So I was sending it to the orphanage and to other people who didn't have spinach because we just couldn't consume it enough. It was messy. We did some in little bags. We used a little vase here. We used whatever. But we called people who knew what they were doing and they would tell us on the phone because people couldn't move at that time what to do.
Yeah.
It was trial and error. So please, for those of you wondering how do you start, you can start with a cup. And in that cup, do 1 tomato. And that one
Mhm.
tomato, you may be able to eat it, and the second tomato you can sell. And then you go
Yeah.
from there. So please know that that's how simple and how painful the beginning normally is.
Yeah.
Secondly, for people trying to hustle, there is no such thing as I did this for 5 years and I've made it. There's a reason why I highlight to you how long I've been at this.
Yeah.
27 years
27
of service,
years.
and I'm still fighting, and I'm still learning, and I still take courses, and I'm still hustling all the time. And if I close half an eye, I will be gone. So you have to be alert, you have to learn, and you have to partner and learn from others to be able to grow continuously. We continuously learn and grow until God calls us back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. 27 years. 27 years. That could be hard to believe. Looking at, your so 27 years really looks.
27 years. I'm 52 years old, people. I have no problem putting my age out there. I'm a woman. People need to know this thing take time. I started
Yeah.
working in the U when I was 24 years old, and I had to drop out of my master's program because my mom needed help to put my brothers through school because there was 3 of them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my dad had health issues, so I dropped out to work to put my brothers through school, and then went back to school when I had my son was 5 years old. So I'm still here. So 27 years to sit in this table where I'm sitting now. And I'm still hustling and I'm still planning. What would I tell my younger self? To have had a business mind towards it. Do not
Yeah.
have a civil servant mind towards what you're doing. And I think a lot of the discussion we're having here is because we have a civil servant approach to things. I have a project, I want financing. Are you serious? No, we have a problem, we need a solution. And then we need to get the community behind our solution. And then we get our friends behind the solution. And eventually you
Yeah.
get partners behind your solution. That's the mindset change that we need to be able to make this happen.
Thank you so much. You've talked about friends. Friends are usually the people that we can run to in case we're starting up something. They're the first people we usually have to go in case you're having something that is coming up. It is better you start with the people that know you, and usually it is these people that are going to maybe introduce your product to other people. And then the other thing that I had forgotten to talk about is us being able to approach. Rose was telling us about how she was able to contact her MP, and we find that the young people feel they cannot connect with these people. They feel it is a little hard for them. They do not believe that they can really approach these people, introduce their ideas to them, and then they can find a way of helping them out. So, to the young people that are watching us, these people are meant to represent us in the parliament. So, I do not think us coming up and approaching these people is a crime. It is something that we must do for our own betterment, for us to, not be there complaining that he did not do this for us. Did we really come up and tell him we wanted this to be done for us? We should really come up and, connect with these people, follow them on their social media pages. You could send them an email. Young people do not want to work with emails. How sorry for us. You could send them an email and see what they have to say. Wait for a response. Thank you so much, Miss Ressa.
Yeah.
I don't know if Michael is with us. I can see he's there, but then I don't know if he can hear us. Michael, can you hear us? As we wait for him to come up, we can still go through messages that are coming in from Facebook, the people that are watching us live. Yes, we still have people that are thanking us. Thank you so much, MTI, for the show. Yes, we have 5 minutes. I thought Michael would come up and then we could use a few minutes before we could close up. But we might be having some issues. Ismail is saying such an inspirational story, one great SDGs champion. Hashtag Brosa. The story of you coming up, having to drop out from your masters just for the sake of your siblings. That is really so touching. Yes. I think Michael is having issues, so I'll come back to Rose. What could be your last message for the young people as we are looking forward to ending today's show?
Thanks, Taula. I think as a person, I think I'd put it in the private chat. We need to get our hands dirty. We need to be proactive, and we need to insist on what and on where we want to go. It's not an easy journey for anyone. I don't think there's anyone who has a story that like, oh, I was born and then things just happened and here I am. As you can hear from Ma'am Rosa Malango, is that it wasn't also easy. You have to insist, you have to, try and sometimes fail and rise up, learn a lesson and rise up again. So as I had already mentioned, let's identify these problems and find every problem. There's always some silver lining somewhere. Where can we go in and what opportunities exist in there? And but also I think in terms of there's something I always think about. It goes to accountability. I've seen a number of youth that have been funded. I don't remember what program. It was kind of a government program, but they were funded and they ran away with the money. It's just like they just disappeared, and that one spoils the name for the rest of the young people. And unless we change those habits and unless we become more accountable, it will be hard for other organizations to support us in any way. But also the entrepreneurship mind. Let's try to find where we can always identify an opportunity to make money, but at the same time help people, at the same time adapt to climate change and mitigate climate change and protect the environment. Like the whole look economics, environment, and society. In whatever we do in terms of our business ideas, let's look at those three aspects, pillars: environment, climate, and society. And I think let's look out for opportunities. They are there. Let's use the internet. Let's stop following the Rihannas and Beyonce. I mean, that's part of life. We need to also be happy, but let's not make it as the overall aim in life. Let's find our purposes and also contribute to making a positive difference in this world.
Thank you so much, Rose. Thank you. Thank you. Today is really amazing. Thank you. I'll come back to you, Ms. Professor Malango. What is your last message for the young people that are watching us regarding, them, finding their own purpose in life and also, finding it but not forgetting about the environment, climate action? Yes.
I think I will leave the participants today with a reflection on the 5 Ps. Always put people first.
Yeah.
Always protect the planet. Pursue prosperity legally and with respect.
Yeah.
Always promote peace. And make sure the Ubuntu Mulamu guides your partnerships. People, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnerships. And no matter what anyone says, embrace your identity. God made you perfect the way you are. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you so much. Just before we close up, I'll read out for those of you that they've not yet posted the pages where the people can follow the different events. For the other event that Rose talked about, it is at PreCop 26 uppercase ITA. Then you can also follow Rose at Kobusinje Rose 1. Then Ms. Rosa told us earlier that we should look for www.regionalcommissions.org, and then at UNRCNYO. Please do not be shy. Let's look up for this. Let's learn to follow these different people. We should also follow the different pages of Maitri Initiative, the Facebook page. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can go back and watch the different episodes that we've had. We've had so many amazing guests. We had Dr. Carusa, we had Dr. Antonio, we had Samson Kasumba, he's a journalist from NBS. We had Solomon Seranja last week. We've had a lot of influential people on this show. So please, if you're watching this but you missed out on the previous shows, feel free, go to the YouTube. You can get to watch these episodes that you missed out on. And to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Rosa Malango. Thank you so much for being here. It has been a great opportunity. Rose, thank you so much. To the people that are watching, they might not even be aware that, we are all in different places. We are totally in different places, but we are bringing this to them from the comfort of their homes, just the tap, using their phones. Thank you so much for being here. It has been so great. And tune in again next week, Friday, 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., the Green Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.
Thank you guys for the invitation. Thank you for the job well done. And I want to thank my team for working to prepare me for today. Congratulations to the youth in Uganda. Keep going strong. Good night from New York.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.